The deer exists in the landscape without demanding attention. It does not roar, it does not challenge the horizon with size or sound, and it does not announce its arrival. Yet wherever forests breathe, wherever grasslands stretch and seasons still hold meaning, the deer is present, shaping the world quietly through movement, consumption, and awareness. To understand the deer is to understand a form of survival built not on dominance, but on sensitivity. Its story is not one of conquest, but of adjustment, restraint, and deep integration with the land. Long before modern forests emerged, the ancestors of today's deer walked through ancient woodlands under climates far warmer than those known now. These early cervids were smaller, less specialized, and lived among a wider range of competitors. As the earth cooled and landscapes fractured into new ecosystems, deer adapted again and again. Their evolutionary path was guided by change rather than stability. Ice ages pushed them south, warming periods allowed expansion northward, and shifting vegetation forced dietary flexibility. Over millions of years, this constant environmental pressure refined a body designed for endurance, a mind tuned for caution, and a metabolism capable of extracting life from leaves, bark, and grass. What we recognize today as a deer is the result of this long negotiation with uncertainty. Their physical form reflects compromise rather than excess. Long legs provide reach and efficient travel rather than brute strength. A narrow chest allows movement through dense vegetation. Muscles are elastic, built for sudden acceleration and sustained motion rather than prolonged struggle. Even their skeletal structure prioritizes lightness over protection, accepting vulnerability in exchange for speed and agility. This choice defines the deer's entire existence. Antlers, perhaps the most visually striking feature of many deer species, are not weapons in the traditional sense. They are signals. Each year, a deer invests enormous energy into growing antlers that will eventually be shed. This cycle mirrors the seasons themselves, reinforcing the deer's connection to time and environment. Antlers communicate health, maturity, and genetic strength long before physical interaction occurs. When clashes happen during mating seasons, they are measured and ritualized, rarely lethal. The goal is not destruction, but decision. Once hierarchy is established, conflict dissolves, conserving energy for survival. The senses of a deer reveal how deeply its life depends on information. Vision is wide rather than sharp, designed to detect motion across vast angles. Hearing is precise and directional, able to isolate sound even within dense forest acoustics. Smell, however, is the sense that governs behavior most strongly. A deer reads the world through scent, identifying predators, other deer, and changes in territory long before these factors become visible. This sensory awareness allows deer to remain present without being exposed, a balance few animals maintain so consistently. Behaviorally, deer are deliberate. They move slowly when unthreatened, conserving energy and minimizing noise. When danger approaches, their first response is often stillness rather than flight. This pause is not hesitation, but calculation. Running too early wastes energy and draws attention. Waiting allows clarity. Only when threat becomes undeniable does the deer explode into motion, choosing paths shaped by memory rather than panic. This reliance on environmental knowledge reveals a form of intelligence rooted in space, timing, and restraint. Socially, deer exist in fluid systems. They form groups when it benefits awareness and disperse when resources demand it. These groupings change with seasons, reproductive cycles, and habitat conditions. Communication within these groups is subtle, relying on posture, ear position, tail movement, and brief vocal signals. Loud or frequent communication would invite predators. Silence is safety. In this way, deer societies operate through awareness rather than authority. Feeding defines much of a deer's daily rhythm. As herbivores, they navigate a world where nutrition is dispersed and often chemically defended by plants. The digestive system reflects this challenge. Multiple stomach chambers allow fermentation and nutrient extraction from fibrous material that many animals cannot process. This ability grants deer access to a wide range of food sources, but it also ties them closely to seasonal cycles. When vegetation is abundant, deer thrive. When it is scarce, they rely on memory, migration, and physiological efficiency. Through feeding, deer shape their environment. They influence which plants dominate and which recede. In balanced ecosystems, this browsing encourages diversity, preventing any single species from overwhelming the landscape. In systems where predators have been removed or deer populations grow unchecked, the same behavior can disrupt regeneration, altering forest structure for decades. The deer, therefore, is neither inherently beneficial nor destructive. Its impact reflects the balance of the system around it. Predation has always been central to the deer story. Wolves, big cats, bears, and early humans hunted deer long before recorded history. Rather than evolving armor or aggression, deer refined perception and escape. Their survival depends on anticipation. When chased, they do not flee in straight lines. They turn suddenly, leap obstacles, and use terrain as a shield. Forests that confuse predators serve as maps to deer. Every slope, fallen log, and water crossing becomes part of a mental network used to survive pursuit. Reproduction introduces vulnerability into an already cautious life. Breeding seasons are short and intense, driven by environmental cues rather than arbitrary timing. Females invest heavily in offspring, choosing birth locations with extreme care. Newborn fawns are fragile, nearly defenseless, yet perfectly adapted for concealment. Their lack of scent and patterned coats allow them to remain hidden while their mothers forage nearby. This early stillness shapes the deer's lifelong relationship with risk and restraint. The bond between deer and humans stretches across cultures and centuries. For early humans, deer were essential. They provided meat, clothing, tools, and symbolism. Deer appeared in cave paintings, myths, and rituals as representations of renewal, grace, and connection to nature. As societies industrialized, this relationship fractured. Habitat loss, road systems, and urban expansion introduced dangers deer had never evolved to face. At the same time, conservation laws and hunting management attempted to replace natural predation with human regulation. Today, deer live in a paradox. In some regions, populations decline as habitats vanish. In others, deer thrive to the point of imbalance due to the absence of predators. Both outcomes signal disruption. The deer becomes an indicator species, revealing the health of ecosystems through its presence or excess. Its future mirrors our relationship with land, restraint, and responsibility. Despite pressure, deer endure. They adapt feeding habits, alter movement patterns, and learn to navigate human-altered environments with surprising flexibility. This adaptability is not reckless. It is cautious, measured, and deeply rooted in observation. Deer do not conquer landscapes. They listen to them. The importance of deer lies not in spectacle, but in influence. They connect plant life to predator populations. They regulate growth through consumption. They carry the memory of landscapes across generations through migration routes and seasonal behavior. Remove the deer, and the forest does not simply lose an animal. It loses a rhythm. In a world increasingly defined by speed and noise, the deer represents an alternative logic. Survival through awareness, strength through restraint, intelligence through attention. Its continued presence reminds us that ecosystems are not maintained by domination, but by balance. And as long as forests still breathe and seasons still turn, the deer will continue to move quietly among them, shaping the world without demanding to be seen.